Hi. In Japanese, there are interesting expression. One is called the chi joy. Chi is for intellect, jo is for feeling, and I is for willingness. And mainly I want to focus on intellect and the feeling in relation to spirituality. And intellect tend to have more inclination to Zen, and feeling or emotion is more like a Shin Buddhism with Amida Buddha's compassion. You can change to Christianity if that suit, but that I see interesting contrast. And in my case, I'm interested in Zen, have been, and also feeling end of it too. And the will, of course, that's for the determination and discipline, and the power of what we want to do. So, of course, that has to be a root of it. But those two different segments is interesting because if I talk about Zen and how it may come out, one of the Zen saying is a little surprising perhaps for some, but it's called, what's the Japanese expression? Dokuza dai yuho. Sitting alone, I'm on top of the great mountain. Is what it means. It sounds like a very arrogant statement, but that's one of them. It may not characterize the Zen in one word, but that's one of the fairly famous saying. Dokuza dai yuho. Doku is alone, and za is sitting, and dai is big, and yuho is a huge mountain or something like that. So compared to that, in Shin, what they say is that Amida Buddha's compassion is the way to be saved. So they don't use such expression like they are on top of the mountain. They talk about Namu Amida Butsu. Namu is let go. I appreciate the involved Amida to save, even the sinners. So they are not too much into intellect, but more feeling oriented. But the funny thing is that when you look at their behavior and their writings, poems, and everything, there's so much in common. And they are talking about natural way of living, if I may use such a word. And nature may represent, some may use the word God. Nature brought us here, and we are alive because of that. All that kind of thing is represented by the laws of nature. And that's why the koan of Zen, who is the one or the face of the one before your parents and parents were born, pointing what's the origin of who you are. So that's my answer to that, but that may not fly to answer the koan. But in conceptual level, let's call it that's the one. So that's Zen, to know the origin. For the Shin Buddhism is to know Amida's compassion and believing Amida would save. So those who are like Myokonin, basic people, common people, some of them cannot read, and really basic, and perhaps intellect is not their favorite way of dealing everyday work, so they rather do basic thing and appreciate that they are alive and Amida is saving even if they are the sinners because of the compassion. So when they give up themselves to Amida, what is truly amazing is that it is as if they are replaced by Amida Buddha. So it's like they are replaced by Amida Buddha. So no self, and no self is replaced by Amida coming in and take over. So this person becomes so compassionate and truly compassionate that they don't want to kill anything. And there are lots of stories like that. So you may say that they're ignorant, so they start to believe and into it. Fine, that's one interpretation. But the symptom is total peace. I think this guy was Genza or Shoma, I forgot which one, but one time I just thought about it. There's a storm and all the ship was going up and down, and everybody's scared and all that. But this guy was at the bottom of the ship and snoring, and then people came and told them, be careful or whatever, that we may die or something. And he said, oh, am I still in this samsara, living? Which means he's still in the world, meaning not in the other world, in nirvana. So he's totally switching everything into being like Amida to health and no worries. And I don't know if I can give you more example, but one of them was relating to, there are so many examples, and maybe just give you interesting ones. There was a thief picking up the apples or the peach on the tree. And Myokonin, I forgot his name, figured out this is going on, so he put the ladder so that he doesn't fall. That's one example. And what's the other one I was thinking? Yeah, there was Genza, I think, was the guy who can always take care of the wild animal, the horses, for example, that they don't obey people. So people bring those wild horse to this guy, and he just spent time not doing anything and just starting to talk and take care of the horse who is crazy, and it turns out maybe they are treated badly by the owner, but whenever they have all the problem horses, they bring it to him, and he just spend time without rushing, living together and helping, and also brushing and water here and there. And this compassion transferred to the horse so that in about a week or two, they're just fine. So I can talk about those stories, which is unheard of, unusual, but that's Myokonin. Osono I mentioned. Let me see if I can think of anything. One of her poem at the end was that just like rice on as they mature, I bend my head, and that's Osono's high. Yes, acceptance, everything acceptance, everything acceptance. And one of the one that I shared before was that there's a lady who came and asked her, what is the way to figure out how I can be saved? And she said, just say Namu Amida Butsu, but the meaning of that, she said, was like what was the Japanese expression? No problem, I'll accept it, or something like that in quick English. So whatever happens, accept it. Whatever happens, accept it. Whatever happens, accept it, so that this person can not react for upset feeling, but that's what Osono said, to do it 2 or 3 years. And this person came a long way from the town somewhere to meet her, and she said, happy to hear, okay, there's a way to go do it. And then after a few days, she couldn't do it, came back and said this and that. And she was, Osono was saying, accept everything in Japanese. So all of a sudden, this person again understood the meaning of it when she couldn't accept, and still you accept it. So that's how things spread out. Not so much of the concept and hierarchical telling you what to do, but believing in the Amida's law to help save people. And I'm not saying perhaps all the details enough to say how their behavior may look very much like Zen with the Satori behavior. Let me see if I can say something about it. They are living in the now, accepting everything, and no worries, basically. So they approach that state from different angle. And I want to talk more about Myokonin, because we have varieties of the character, and not to say you should be in here or in here, it may be in between. And we may appreciate, the fact that those people, not saying that you have to do this, but this is what's happening, and be respected by other people surrounding area. So one guy who had the problem of solving the life's problem, not being able to solve it, he just did jump out of the house and trying to go somewhere, and he didn't know where. But by talking to this person, this temple and that temple, he walked around Japan and met 180 people or some such Myokonin, and assembled the whole in the booklet. Met this and this happened, this happened, this happened, this happened. So those were available, but was not appreciated until Daisetsu Suzuki picked up. And Kyo Kusunoki is one of the Daisetsu's students who started to assemble those, and then also feeding Daisetsu more about that information, which Daisetsu appreciated so much. So anyway, that's about the point of the different starting point, different avenues, but in there is some common character, the process, that may be something that we can appreciate. And to my knowledge, or the way I understand, is this samadhi I talked about, is that when the Myokonin talk about Namyo Amida Butsu, that is like a anchoring mechanism to get into that samadhi state, whereas the Zen may be into koan or meditation, but they come to the same sense where you have the brain function to be processed with the way of nature coming from the origin of who we are, so that there's some kind of alignment or clarity which is in the state of no mind, no self, and that is the same for each of those Zen or Shin Buddhism. There may be other form of the Zen or Shin Buddhism in the world, and there are people who may not have gone any of that, but have the character to be able to process it because of their upbringings. Some can have the parents who are very, let's say, intellect side is academic, and just looking at how this person behave, you can inherit the way that they behave, like even how they breathe the air. So there's a transferring of those images that may come, and then start to behave like, well, I don't understand this problem, but let me think about it, and go into the samadhi without meditation. Einstein, or Picasso is another example. For some reason, what he says in Picasso's words is one of the book. When I read it, it's like a book by the Zen monk. And I have posted some of those somewhere to characterize how similar. I don't think they went to the Zen or Shin Buddhism, but there's a character. So anybody who mastered to be the master of destiny may have those characteristics. But then also from the Shin end of it, they're very kind people without knowing what Shin Buddhism. And that's the kind of not the word, but the actual behavior pattern and what's go inside in them. And if we can understand and appreciate, I think that would help us to learn how to live with having those different references and find out our own, so that we can move forward positively and even possibly having fun. And appreciative, compassionate, but also with wisdom. Let's keep working on it. Thank you.